Hello and welcome to this session where I introduce to you the SAP ERP solution. Now, this particular session is very important for any new user. So, if you are a new user to the SAP ERP domain, then stay tuned and ensure that you go through this session. All right. So the objective of this session is to provide an overview of the SAP ERP and its applications, and also to guide you in selecting the appropriate SAP course and training level based on your own peculiar requirement or career goal. All right. Now, the need for this is because over the time, as a consultant, I've seen that you have people, several people, who either take SAP courses that are not relevant and does not suit their domain experience, and so at the end of it all, they pay for oversized courses. All right, so it is very important that you know the particular kind of course and training level that suits your requirement. All right, so it's not a one cap fits all like many people buy in the market. All right, so there are different areas of application. There are different levels of training depending on what you require the training for. Okay, and so if you go through this session, you're going to have a very clear understanding of the particular course that suits your requirement and the training level, very importantly, the training level that suits your requirement, so that you don't go, buying something that is probably, oversized for you, right? And then you spend a lot of money and you don't get real value for it. Now, first we're going to talk about us at Altmosphere Career, and then we're going to also talk about the SAP ERP, all right, the domain, then suitable SAP course for you. All right, now there you will see the different areas or different courses, and you'll be able to also identify the one that is suitable for you. And then we're going to talk about suitable SAP training level for you. All right, we have different training levels. And then for those who want to switch, they want to switch to the IT domain. All right, the SAP ERP is the easiest way to switch from a non-IT domain into an IT domain. All right, is the easiest way for you, and I'm going to be showing you that in this session, and then your next step to take. All right, so sure you're ready for this. Now let's talk about us. Altmosphere Career is a team of SAP consultants. All right, we are experienced SAP consultants across different industries. We've had decades of experience, so we are not just any entrepreneur who sets up a training firm, but then we are able to provide you with very valuable trainings and that fits what you require, and so we have free consultation, so you can talk to our consultants and we can guide you appropriately. But I think even through this session, you'll be able to get that proper guidance. And then we also bring you into a community, all right? So that you're not alone. Okay, this thing is about networking. Opportunities come through networking, especially in the SAP domain. So we'll bring you into a community. We'll give you support. All right. So, for instance, if we're training you, we're going to give you free access to the SAP system. So it's very hands-on. All right. So, but apart from just training you, we also give you support. Okay, in terms of when you are doing your practice, you run into issues. When you want to go for an interview, or you're on a job. Okay, we give you support. All right, we give you mentorship. Okay, so we are able to guide you, mentor you, not just only in on how to use the SAP system, but also about how to secure jobs and grow in this domain. All right, so these and many more you enjoy with us at Altmosphere Career. All right, so it's the most amazing atmosphere for you to excel, especially in the SAP domain. All right, now let's get into business. What is ERP in the first place? ERP, the acronym stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Now, Enterprise Resource Planning is a software, all right? It's a software. Now, this software is used to optimize business processes, automate the business processes, and integrate the business processes. I think the general objective of most software is to, optimize and automate. But the unique selling point of the ERP is its capability to integrate business processes. This makes the ERP a solution that is relevant for all times. So that's why I always tell people, when you invest in acquiring an ERP skill, it's a long-term profiting investment. All right, because the ERP will continue to be relevant, even with the advancement of technologies. We have artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain technology, Internet of Things. All right, all this will continually rely on the ERP, which is the chief source of enterprise data. Okay, so organizations more and more are adopting the use of ERP. That is why you see the demand for ERP skill is increasing by the day, fast increasing in the market. That if you don't know how to use the ERP, in a few times from now, you probably will not be relevant working in any organization, because the concept of the ERP creates an ecosystem. All right, it becomes an ecosystem where the organization carry out all their business operations. So if you don't know how to use it, then you cannot work within that ecosystem. All right, so all their critical business processes are automated, optimized, and integrated, right, with the ERP, because it brings a lot of benefits. Okay, so sales, finance, purchasing, warehouse management, inventory, manufacturing, production, plant maintenance, quality management, and so on are all integrated. You can see look at diagram here. All right, see some of the business processes that are integrated. So you see that this has to do with the whole business enterprise, or the whole enterprise. All right, so for you to be relevant to work in such enterprise, then you have to know how to use the ERP. Okay. Now, why the buzz about SAP ERP? SAP is not the only ERP solution in the market. But the reason why you have SAP, you got a lot of buzz about the SAP ERP is because the SAP ERP is the chief ERP software solution in the world. All right, it stands in its own class, and that is why if you know how to use SAP ERP and you go to an organization that does not use SAP ERP, they use any other ERP, they will gladly take you because everybody knows that if you can use SAP ERP, you can use any other ERP. But if you know how to use other ERPs, all right, and you go to an organization where they use SAP ERP, of course, most organizations that use ERP use SAP ERP. All right, now if you go to those organizations, they may not take you because there's this gap that will still be there. All right, so and so that is the strength of the SAP ERP is that is the most scalable ERP. So many organizations that were using other ERP, after some time they want to scale, they have to move to the SAP ERP. All right. Now, within the SAP ERP domain, another question that keeps coming up is the issue of the ECC versus the SAP S4HANA. Now, the ECC is the SAP version, all right, that has been used in the past 2 decades or so, or even more. All right. Now, SAP, around 2015 or so, came up with another solution, okay, which is a shift from what you usually have. All right, it's really a paradigm shift from the regular ERP. All right, so the SAP S4HANA was bettered. So the SAP S4HANA is the current ERP solution, okay, that SAP is selling in the market today. Okay, so now the ECC, you still have up to about 70% of SAP customers still run on ECC, all right? And then you have every new project today is on SAP S4HANA. So why do people sometimes take training on ECC? They take training on ECC, especially at the level of an end user or a super user, or because of cost, because the SAP S4HANA training is more expensive than the ECC training. All right. Functionally, what is the difference? If I take the ECC training, can I use the S4HANA? Okay, there are two interfaces for the S4HANA. There is the GUI interface. There's the Fiori Launchpad interface for the S4HANA. All right. Now, for someone who did training on ECC, yes, you can use the S4HANA. That's the GUI interface of the S4HANA. All right. They are like, I would say, about 90% similar functionally. Okay, so there's a whole lot of stuff, technically that's different, between both systems. But the SAP S4HANA Fiori interface, all right, gives it its exceptionalism, makes the SAP S4HANA exceptional. All right, with that, you can access your systems through mobile devices and so on. All right, it's very scalable, it's very user friendly, and so on, personalizations using the modern technologies and all that. Okay, so you can take the ECC training. Like as I said, about 70% of SAP customers still run on ECC. Okay, and ECC is cheaper. But then again, if you can afford the SAP S4 HANA, why not? You can go for that. All right, because the SAP S4 HANA gives you everything in the ECC and more. Okay, so it depends on your purchasing power at the time. But what I always advise is this: don't wait till you have all the money. Go for what you can afford at the time, because the opportunities come, and when they come, I've seen people who have regretted that they didn't take they didn't take the training, because if they did, they had an opportunity, but they missed it because they didn't have the SAP skill. All right. If you check in, several job roles, the SAP skill is not strongly mentioned. But when you go to the interview, especially at the final stages, then they begin to ask you that question. Why? Because that is the company's ecosystem. That is where they do their business operations. So if you don't know how to use it, you can't work within that organization. And several organizations in the UK, in Canada, in US, and all over Europe, and Asia, just mention, a lot of companies run on the SAP ERP system, and of course in Africa. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the suitable SAP course for you. First, we need to establish this. There are two major domains and a cross-functional domain. Okay, so you have the functional domain. These are business areas. That is why I said that the SAP is the easiest way for you to move from a non-IT background to an IT background. Okay, because it's a techno-functional skill. Okay, so it has the functional and it has the technical. Now, the functional domain is IT, but it's business oriented. Now, what do I mean by this? For instance, you are an accountant, right? And you want to move from just being an accountant, you want to move into the tech space where you can work remotely and things like that. Okay. Now, all you need to do is to do SAP Financial Accounting or SAP Financial Accounting and Control, which is FICO. Now, with that, you have moved into that tech domain. Okay. So what you learn there is not different from what you're already doing. You just now know how to use a software, all right, to do that, and how that software integrates with other business processes. So this has to do with business processes. Then you have the technical side. The technical domain has to do with core IT skills like programming, like system and administration, database administration, and all that. Okay, so in the functional side, you don't do things like writing codes, all those kind of stuff, querying SQL queries and all that. You don't do all that here. But in the technical domain, you have some requirements where you need to do all that. Also, in the cross-functional domain, cross-functional takes a bit of functional and technical domain, things like business intelligence and the rest of them. Okay, so let's look at more details into the functional domain. And the functional domain, you have processes like the SAP Materials Management. Now, this is a course, SAP Materials Management. Now, this course, SAP Materials Management, covers purchasing, inventory management, logistics invoice verification, management of materials, management of suppliers or vendors, management or material requirement planning, MRP, physical inventory, and so on. Okay, so this will course is relevant for those who are in supply chain, for those who are in purchasing, those who are in inventory management, material planners. With this course, you can work in these areas. Okay, so if you are in purchasing, procurement, supply chain, all right, all those areas, the logistics, you can take that course. All right. Then you have the SAP Sales and Distribution, SD. Now, the SAP Sales and Distribution covers sales, pre-sales, and sales transactions, delivery, and billing. Okay, and customer returns. How you handle customer returns and customer complaints. Okay, it also covers management of materials. It also covers management of customers, and then pricing, and so on. Okay, now this is relevant for those who are in supply chain again, or logistics, those who are in sales, all right, sales, those who are in sales, delivery, that's logistics and so on. Okay, so this covers, this is relevant for them. Okay, maybe customer service can also take this course. Marketing can also take this course. Okay. Now, the advantage of this is that when you take a course that is relevant to your domain, then it's easier for you to get a job. That is why you see there are so many people who get the SAP skill and yet they are not able to get a job because they were not properly guided. Okay, and that is what we do differently. We guide you, all right, not just to take a training, but to take the appropriate training. Then you have the SAP Financial Accounting, which is FI. Financial accounting is relevant for those who are in the financial services, accountants, and auditors. Okay. You have SAP Control. SAP Control also for those who are into internal controls, auditors, and those who are into accounting also. It's relevant for them. Then you have SAP Human Capital Management or Human Resources. Now, again, this spells it out directly. These are for those who are in admin, those who are in HR, any form of HR, human resources, employees experience, and so on. Okay, so the human capital management module. Now, the human capital management is within the ERP, but then you have the SAP SuccessFactors. The SuccessFactor it's actually a cloud-based HR solution. It's not within the ERP. Okay, so you can have someone who takes both the SAP HCM and SuccessFactors, all right, or just may join the ERP side of it. Now, the advantage of the ERP is that you're integrating with other business processes, okay, and all these skills help you to get job roles that you can work remotely. Then you have the SAP Plant Maintenance. Now, the plant maintenance is relevant. Okay, so the plant maintenance, covers areas like notification, maintenance orders, covers things like maintenance planning, and so on. And it's relevant for those who are technicians. It's relevant for those who are engineers. All right. those who are into engineering, technical works. Then you have production planning. Production planning covers how you plan your production process. It has to do with your production order. It has to do with converting MRP to production order through your planned order, and then you have manufacturing, district manufacturing, and so on. All right. So this is for those who are in manufacturing or production. Then you have the project systems. Project systems sounds directly as it covers the management of projects. All right. And this is for those who are either project engineers, project managers, and those who are responsible for projects. Okay. Then you have quality management. Quality management has to do with quality. Those who are in who are in who have area like who are in areas of health, environment, and safety. Those who are in quality management, generally, all the different areas of quality management, this course is relevant for them. Then you have the warehouse management, of course, for those who manage your warehouse, right? Your warehouse officers and those in inventory, can take this course. All right. It's for those who are also in logistics that also want to expound can also take warehouse management. Then you have the extended warehouse management. The extended warehouse management, I think, is one very hot area that has very high demand. So you have materials management, you have sales and distribution, financial accounting. These are areas with very high demand. Extended warehouse management also, has some extra functionalities, all right, added to be more, as in more than what you just have in warehouse management, all right, and it's so the only difference is that some of these courses, some of them are more expensive. Okay, so like for instance, the extended warehouse management is more expensive than just warehouse management. Then you have logistics execution. All right, that has to do with delivery process. Okay, shipping and all that. All right, so that again is for those who are into transportation, shipping, or delivery. Those who are in logistics can take all that. Then you also have some course groupings. All right, so you have the SAP ERP Supply Chain Management. Now that course covers materials management. It covers the materials management process. It covers the sales and distribution process. Takes a bit of your logistics execution, part of it in the supply chain management. And then you have FICO. FICO is the combination of financial accounting and control. All right. Then you have warehouse management and logistics execution. Okay, that's a combination of warehouse management and logistics execution, just like as you have that there. And then you also have SAP Logistics. Now, SAP Logistics is a very wide area. All right, covers materials management processes as procurement processes, sales processes. Also covers some part of logistics execution processes and some part of accounting. Okay, so it's a very broad area too. All right, so the prices for these ones, for the group courses, of course, are more compared to that of just the single courses. So these are some of the functional areas, and I'm sure by now you should be able to know how it fits into your career experience. All right, so let's look at the technical sides. Okay, so for the technical domain, you have these and some more. Of course, you have the basis, SAP basis. Now, this has to do with system administration. So you should have a background in, system administration, database administration, for you to, for that would be a prerequisite for this. Then you have the SAP ABAP, which is programming. It's a programming, to require some programming skills. All right. Then you have the SAP governance. I think this was supposed to be, I think this should be GRC. That's a governance, risk, and compliance. Let me just update that. GRC. Okay, so GRC, that would be governance, risk, and compliance, which has to do with security, but then have to do with things like access control and so on. And then you have the SAP security. Sometimes some people take the two courses together, GRC and security. It's actually better when you take GRC and security, but of course it's more expensive. And then you have cross-functional domains like business intelligence, crystal reports, and the SAP Analytical Cloud solution. That's a cloud solution for analytics. Okay, so these are some of the, you have a lot of others, SAP Business Technology Platform, and so on. Okay, so there are a lot of, but these are, some of the very ones, you have in high demand. You have SAP BPC, which is business planning and consolidation. That is actually in the functional domain. You have SAP EHS, which is or product and stewardship, which is under environmental health and safety. All right, so you have product safety and stewardship in the S4HANA. All right, so these are the different domains we have, all right, within the SAP system. All right, so these are different domains and the courses. So I'm sure by now you would have been able to relate with these courses, okay, based on your own domain experience. Now, next, we want to see what are the relevant training level for you. Okay, so let's look at the training levels. So we have 4 training levels. You have the new user training. Okay, now the new user training is the preliminary training level for all new users. All right, so with this training, you're able to understand, like part of this session, for instance, is part of the new user training. You understand the SAP system. You also understand the navigation, all right, of the SAP system. You understand the system-wide concept. You understand the SAP system landscape, and things like that. Okay, the document structure, item categories, and so on. Okay, so all that are usually in the SAP new user training. On the end of this, you can look at the comment section. All right, you can see a link if you want to participate in any of our new user training. We usually have that. It's actually a free class. Okay, it's a free class, so you can just register to take the training if that is just what you want. But then we also have the end user training. Now, the end users are those who are responsible for the day-to-day transactions, all right? Someone who is creating a purchase order, someone who is creating the sales order, someone who is posting the invoice. Okay, so these are those who handle the day-to-day transactions. Now, the end user training is business process specific. The new user training is part of the end user training. All right. So all our trainings, for instance, starts from the new user training. Okay. So for the end user training, you can have business process like the procure to pay business process. You can have process like the order to cash business process. You can have processes like the preventive maintenance process. You can have processes like the production planning process. You can have the account payable process, account receivable process. All right. So these are process specific. Now, this is relevant for those who are who want to they're going to work. You have a job role where you need to use SAP. So as an accountant, you're an accountant that is responsible for account payables, account receivables. All right. So you can take this training. You don't need to take the SAP consultant training for that. Okay. You want to work in the role of a purchasing officer, for instance. You can take the SAP procure to pay business process. You want to work in the role of a sales representative. Okay. You can take the SAP order to cash process. All right. You are an engineer, okay, who is just responsible for the maintenance process. You're not involved in maintenance planning. All right. Then you can take the end user training. Okay. So, but for those who are involved in planning, either maintenance planning or production planning or procurement planning or sales planning, all right, those who are or who want to aspire or aspire to go into those kind of roles. Okay, you want to aspire to go into those kind of roles, you want to be more competitive, all right, then you can go for the super user training. The super user training usually would have the new user training and the end user training course embedded in it. All right, so you do the new user training, you do the end user training, and more. All right, so that's what the super user training covers. All right, it will expose you to deep business process principles. As a super user, you'll be able to enforce certain business rules or policies, or implement policies or within the business process. Okay, you can support the business process, help the end users, support the end users, and of course, you can, of course, plan. Okay, you can be part of those who do the planning. Now this is very suitable for people who business process champions, compliance coordinators, supervisors, managers, team leaders, or if you want to aspire, to be that. I've had some couple of people who did this training, and it gave them an edge in the organization because every other person is an end user, so it gave them an edge and they got quick promotions. Okay, so if that is also what you want to aspire to be, then this will be good for you. All right, so now we go to the big one, which is the SAP Consultant Certification Training. Now, SAP consultants are one of the highest paid professionals worldwide. All right. Now, as a consultant, when you say consultant, that means you can consult, you can work privately, You can work for an organization. You can work as a super user. You can work as an end user. You can work as a business analyst. You can work as a subject matter expert. All right. It opens a lot of opportunities for you. All right. So one of the things you do is that you're able to advise organizations, you're able to implement the SAP system, do some customization, able to help organizations customize their business processes, apply very deep business principles, understand the SAP functionalities. All right. You'll be able to, you know, you know, you configure some of the functionalities within the system. Now, this is also it's also a functional area. Of course, you have it both functional and and technical. All right. Now, this also prepares you for the global certification, the SAP Global Certification, whether it's for ECC or for S4HANA. And one thing you would know that is different about what we provide in Altmosphere Career is that our courses are aligned with the core competencies, all right, of the SAP certification exams, all right, because the core competencies, they have different exam score weights. Okay, so our courses are aligned based on those core competencies. That is one thing that is different from what we provide, all right, because we are certified consultants. All right, now next is switching over to IT skill. Now, if your objective is that you want to switch into the IT domain, then the training level that will be relevant for you will be the SAP Consultant Certification Training, because it is when you switch over. Now, if you do the super user training or the end user training, all right, what you're doing is that you're just acquiring an IT skill to do what you do as an accountant or as a procurement specialist, all right, or as a sales representative. Okay, so that's different if you are switching totally into the IT domain as a consultant. All right, so if you want to switch into the IT domain, then you would have to take the SAP Consultant Certification Training. Okay, and I hope that is clear. So, what is your next step? Next step to take is that I always advise people, don't procrastinate. All right, do the one you can afford at the time. Okay, so there are several organizations that offer SAP training. You can reach out to them. If you also want us at Altmosphere Career to nurture you, guide you, mentor you in this domain, you can reach out to us. You can speak with our consultants. You can even take our free register for our SAP free new user training, okay, or go straight and take an end user training or a super user training or a consultant training. All right, but the thing is, you need to take action. All right, you need to make a move now. Don't procrastinate. All right, take a SAP training now. Right, I hope you would have gotten some very clarification. You have gotten clarifications and good clarity about the different domains and also about the SAP ERP courses. And I hope I wish you well. I see you at the top. All right. Bye for now.